If I were to tell you that you in your lifetime would win in the lottery £7,123,452.21, you'd be ecstatic. But see if you were to give that information to someone else. Would you tell them you'd won £7,123,452.21, or would you say that you'd won 7 million? If you go to the shops and you buy something for £9.99, do you say you paid £9.99 or do you say that you paid £10? What we're going to look at in this video is significant figures. And significant figures allow us to write information or kind of simplify numbers into just making the important stuff matter. Because here, the most important thing here is this 7. This is the most important number in here, because this represents millions, and millions are more important than the 100,000s and 20,000s and tens of thousands and hundreds and tens in units. 7 million is the most important number here. And what we're going to look at with significant figures is writing numbers so that they're significant. So they may be rounded, but it shows the gist of what the number is. Okay? It shows a good representation of what that number represents. There are lots of different rules to significant numbers. If I gave you the number 500,000, that's a big number. The most important number though is this number here, the 5. So what we can say is that if we have trailing zeros, are not significant. I'm just going to put are not sig. So this number here, 500,000, only has one significant number. The number 300 has only one significant number. Trailing zeros don't really matter. It's this. This is the number that matters the most. So we can say that in big numbers, trailing zeros are not important. The same can also be said about small numbers. In small numbers, all zeros at the start of the number are not significant. So see all these numbers up to this stage here. These zeros don't really matter. It's these numbers here that matter. So we would say that in this question, there are 5 significant numbers, 4, 1, 6, 3, 5. This has 5 significant figures. If we were asked how many significant numbers are there in the number 0.5032, this adds another chink. We know that the leading zeros aren't significant. These aren't significant. But we've got a 5, a 0, a 3 and a 2. And so far we've seen that zeros are not significant. But if a 0 is in between two non-zero numbers, so here 0 is in between 3 and 5, or 5 and 3. Because that's the case, that 0 is now significant. So in this number, these 4 are significant. So when you've got zeros surrounded by significant numbers, when you've got zeros surrounded by non-zero numbers, that 0 becomes significant. Okay, here we've got the number 223.10. How many significant numbers does this have? At the very start I said that big numbers such as 500,000, I said that in those numbers trailing zeros are not significant. So zeros at the end of big numbers aren't significant. But that is true except for the case of this decimal point here. See if we've got a 0 at the end of a number after the decimal point. That has been put there for a reason. That has been put there to maybe imply that some previous rounding has taken place. So when you have a 0 after a decimal point at the end of a number, that 0 is significant. So this number has 5 significant numbers in it. Okay, here we could be asked to round to a given number of significant figures. This would generally be done at the end of a question, but would certainly be worth 1 or 2 or 3 marks throughout the course of your National 5 paper. So to do that, let's say for example we want to round this to 2 significant figures. What we do is we have to read from the left, find the first non-zero number. So reading from the left, here's the first non-zero number. And we are going to count along to the number of significant figures that I've asked for. So here I've asked for 2, so I'm going to count along to this one here, this number 1. What we do is we just kind of then treat it like we would do normal rounding with decimals. So this number will change or stay the same, and it depends on the number next to it. The number next to it is a 4, so this will stay 1. If it was 5 or above, it would remain the same. So what we are saying is that if we are to round 514,023 to 2 significant figures, would it be 51? No, that's not a good approximation. We need to remember to include the rest of the numbers to make the number representative. So we need to add in these trailing zeros here. Trailing zeros are not significant, so I've got 2 significant numbers here and here, and 510,000 is quite a good approximation for 514,023. So I have rounded this to 2 significant figures. Okay, here I've been asked to round to 3 significant figures. Okay, so our process is that we go along, we start from the left and we count in to our third significant number. Here's my first, here's my second, here's my third. This is the first one because this number isn't 0. This 0 is significant because it's in between 2 non-zero numbers. So my first significant, my second significant, my third significant. So this number will change or stay the same depending on this number here. Because this number is less than 5, it's going to stay the same, so it's going to be 30.5. This number now has 3 significant figures. You do not write 30.500 because, as we said a few slides ago, that if we have got zeros at the end of a number after a decimal point, these would be significant. So this number actually has 5 significant numbers. We don't want that. We only want 3. So be very careful not to include trailing zeros after a decimal point because they would become significant. Okay, here I've been asked to round 0.566 to 1 significant figure. So starting from the left, I count along till I reach my first significant figure. So zeros at the start of a number are not significant, so I go to my first significant number, which is this number here, the 5. So this number will change or stay the same depending on the number to the right of it. The number to the right of it is a 6, which means that we will be rounding up because we round up when we've got 5 or above. So 5 will round up by 1 to be 6, and I leave it there. I do not add in any extra zeros because if I added in extra zeros after the decimal point, those would be significant. So the more practice you get with significant numbers, the more straightforward it will become. Thanks very much.